Pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil, da-da-da. Pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil, da-da-da.
We really need to have a talk. But first, welcome back to my channel. Hi little cuties! I'm happy to see you here and I hope you're fine. In today's video, I want you to get those drawings better by making you understand the value of this sketch. Now, these things were really life-changing for me, so how about you to take a seat and chill with me? Let's get into it. As you may see in this video, I had to restart my drawing once again because I didn't feel comfortable with the first one. At first, it was okay, but afterwards I was like, meh. And I had to do it once again. And when you will feel like this, because it's going to happen, don't get lazy and do it again. If you can do it better, it's the best. Before the first step, I wanna add that this drawing is a recreation of that one. It's Gabby who sent this to me and I fell in love with the facial expression. I feel that I need to recreate this in my style. Thank you, Gabby, for letting me do it.
First and best tip that I have to give to someone who has longer like me. Tie your hair, it will boost the concentration. Let's move to the next tip. Don't be afraid. What do I mean by this? Be super extra duper messy. Okay, the most you can. Here's a thing. For baking a cake, your kitchen will be messy. Ingredients here, tools over there. The sketch is the base of the drawing. Do all the lines you need. They don't have to be clean right now. Be sure of your proportions, perspective. It's the best time for it. Now, I'm ready to start my sketch by digital. If you didn't saw my last two videos, maybe you don't know that I prefer to start traditionally. It's a good way for me to plan and it's more comfortable. However, it doesn't always end up looking like the first one. I wasn't happy with the final result of this drawing, so I made a few changes. Well, a lot of changes, but it happens. I didn't mind starting again because I knew it was going to be worth it. Now I can learn from my mistakes and give you tips to avoid them. Here's one of my tips. Draw dynamical shapes. It gives more credibility, creativity, and interesting touch to your artwork. Here's how you can do it. To make things more clear, I am drawing now what you should avoid in the left. It's a static shape. Now, I will draw what I recommend you to do, which is the same shape, but more dynamical. If you don't know how this applies to a character body, look closely. In the left, we have a flat character, very static and very basic. This is what I would tend to do some years ago. When I started an online course, I learned that the character would be more interesting with dynamic shapes and forms. As a beginner artist, I didn't know this. That's why I will never end up happy with the results. In the right is what I recommend you to do. In my personal experience, it is more easy to draw characters like this. I'm not an expert in character design. What I'm telling you is what worked out for me. I'm just giving you the advice to avoid what's in the left. I propose you to play around with any type of shape. Turn a flat shape into a dynamical one. It's a good way to practice. Another way is to take a paper, sketchbook, or whatever you have and observe what's around you. Try to recreate an object using dynamical shapes. My next tip is very similar to the last one. Exaggerate the pose. What I mean is that the details that you are going to add later can hide the essence of your character's pose. The clothes, the hair, the jewelry, it takes a lot of place. That's why sometimes the pose loses her intensity after the sketch. Exaggerating the pose can help you to keep it. This also means to get out of your comfort zone. Take some challenges. If you don't draw the hands in every drawing, you are not improving. Neither do your artworks. It can make them very cliché. We want to avoid that. Be more creative with the poses. It makes the difference. This is what I didn't like of my first drawing. It wasn't creative. I wanted to make a posture that was more challenging. My next tip for you is to always draw your sketch in a different color from your line art one. It makes things more easier. It's because we can see more clearly the sketch line when we are doing the line art. It helps us avoid making mistakes. Sometimes I don't draw correctly a line because I confuse the line art one with the sketch one. That's when I use black for sketch color. Even if afterwards I reduce opacity, it can get pretty confusing. Let's go to the next tip. When you're still in the sketch phase, you should try to go to Image and then click Turn Horizontally. I was afraid to do that before because my drawing would lose every perspective that I tried to create in the other version, but don't be afraid. That's the key to find out what are those mistakes that you didn't see first. Here's an interesting fact. I discovered that when I spend a lot of time doing the same thing without a break, I'm not able to see the mistakes that I make. It's like when you're painting a wall. You spend a lot of time in front of that wall passing the brush. There's a point when you're not able to see the blank spaces anymore, so you need someone behind you to tell you, oh no, you should go over there. Oh no, you should add some more over here. It's kind of the same thing when you're drawing. That's why it's perfect to turn around your picture. That will change completely the view and you will notice what's wrong with the drawing. Of course, after you correct everything, you can turn your picture again. If you're drawing traditionally, what I personally do in those cases is that I put an alarm. When it rings, I get up and I go get some water. When I come back after some minutes, I realize every mistake that I didn't notice before and I can correct it. At first, it can seem very discouraging, but don't worry, I felt like that too. However, there's no need to give up because you totally got this. It's a question about practice. Now that I'm talking about practice, let me add that the more you draw with a software, the more you get to know it. Before, I would just tend to erase all and start all over again. But now what I do is I select what I want to modify and I do it. It's way more easy and more fast. That's what I'm doing right now with the eye. And before I had to erase the neck and the chest because I didn't like how it looked like. Okay, now we are ready to move to a bonus tip.
Here's a bonus tip for your drawing. It isn't about the sketch, but can you see this? It's a soft art, but maybe some people won't see the shadows and they will think, oh, this is kind of cute, I can do a drawing without doing the shadows. But it isn't possible because your drawing will be flat. There is shadows in here. Let me show it to you. I think I'm going to show it to you in another way. Wait.
Oof, much better. Now you can see some shadows in her hair in her skin, like the cheeks, her hands, the neck, and there's also a little bit of shadows in what she is wearing. Here is the shadows, and now it's flat. Can you see the difference?
This is it. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Bye! See you next time!